everyone, today in this video I'm excited to be checking out the Eufy X10 Pro Omni. Eufy did send me this product, but any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to this RoboVac and mop will be in the video description. Take a look at the retail box and packaging, some key features right here front and center. Really cool product shot and image. Some additional features down at the bottom. We can learn more about it from the side right here. Then we have even more product features on the back side. And you get a nice rundown here of the Omni Station and its navigation, its suction power, its mopping system, battery and charging, everything that's in the box, what software it's compatible with, all of that good stuff right there on the box. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. First up, we got unboxing instructions right when you open it up, and then your Get Start guide is also built right in. And here's everything in the box. We have our safety information followed by our power cord. We have our vacuum and we have the Omni Station. Let's go ahead, let's look at the X10 and the Omni Station in more detail. Starting with the vacuum, you'll see up at the top, we got our LiDAR navigation module, Eufy's logo and branding all throughout, 3 control buttons here, and we have a flap to lift up to reveal our dustbin. This is a self-empty system, but you can still manually empty and clean the dustbin as needed. Check your filters, all of that good stuff right here. This will pop open for the filter so you can see how that works to clean and replace as needed. But a nice dustbin there with easy handle and installation and removal. We have our setup code right there to scan, reset button, Wi-Fi indicator light up at the top. You'll see our navigational bumper right here. Let's look at that. We have a sticker to remove before use with their AIC technology, so we can just pull that off. So cool. We got all of our cameras and sensors there, and on the side, keep rotating that around. This is where it's going to empty itself with the contents coming out of there. Mop Master, charging contacts, water refilling, all of that done on board. Now we'll flip it over to the very bottom. You'll see we have a side cleaning brush, omnidirectional wheel. We have our cliff sensors, carpet sensor. We have our active detangling roller brush. So look at that. It's pretty sweet. Then it just goes right back in as needed for easy maintenance and care. Additional product info, spring-loaded drive wheels. Then we have our 2 mop pads. Now they look circular, but what's really unique about this design, if we can pop one off, they're actually pentagons to help them make more contact together as they're spinning in this area compared to circular mop pads. So very clever design there. You also might notice, let me show you, if I can show you maybe from the back side, the mop pads as I spin them, see them going up and down, so they can raise and lower on carpets, and they will apply downward pressure when rotating as they're actually mopping your floor. But pentagon design, really unique. Love to see that. Nice cloth mop pads. Now let's go ahead, let's look at the Omni Station. The Omni Station comes in 2 pieces. We basically have our drive up ramp right here that will just press and snap right in place. Then looking at the Omni Station itself, we have our dirty water tank and clean water tanks clearly labeled. On this side, we can open it up to reveal our already installed vacuum bag right there. Very easy to remove and install and replace as needed. Let's go ahead, let's take the clean water tank out. We'll look at that in more detail. You can even take note of how it looks with it removed. Here's our clean water tank from all sides and angles. We just pull this to open to reveal the inside where we can fill up our water to the max indicator. That's clearly labeled in here. Harder to see, but it's right there. In person, easy to see, hard to see on camera. That's our clean water tank. And then here's a look at our dirty water tank. Same thing. You'll notice though on this side, it's going to have a little float here to catch to let us know once the tank is full. Then we need to empty it, wash it out, let it dry, and we're good to go. So both of those just go right on the unit as you see right there. Let's keep looking at the unit. We'll look at it from the front now. You'll notice Eufy's logo and branding. You'll see our channel for self-empty, charging, water refilling, cleaning and drying down below. we have this little lip there that we can remove with this tape to easily clean this tray as needed and get further access down below. But that just goes right in, and you'll notice too, we got a little maybe like a floating mechanism there, but that just snaps right back in. Take a look at it from the side. Here's a look from the back side as the tray falls out. We got our power cord right there that's going to plug right in. No cable management though. No built-in cable management or cord storage. See a little filter and some venting for the self-empty. There's a look at the other side. And then we'll flip it over to the very bottom here. Show you what it looks like upside down. And then we'll be careful to tip it back to the front, and I'll show you how to attach this piece right here. Just line it up and just gently press it in place. There we go. You can remove that tape and put this back in the unit. And now we have everything all set up. So let's go ahead, plug it in, charge up our vacuum, and get everything set up, and let's try it out. All right, so it's plugged in, it's charging up. When we put it on the base and got everything connected, it tried to refill the water, but there's no water in the tanks yet. And currently now it's drying the mops. I can feel the warm air in there as it's working on drying the mop pads, which are, you guessed it, already dry because we hadn't even used it yet. Now let's go ahead, let's fill it up and try it out. We just finished our first clean. Let's take a look at the real world results. Looking at the vacuum itself, your typical hair and a little bit of crumbs and dust and things like that, gonna be agitated and knocked up on the unit. No big deal there, very common. Then I see a couple of hairs in here with the dustbin. I did intercept the vacuum before it went back home to self-empty. So there's a look at the inside right there. Looks really clean. And now let's look at the contents of the dustbin right here. So a lot of pet hair. It's definitely full. I see a lot of crumbs and dirt and things at the bottom. Let's gently open this up, trying not to spill it out. Packed to the brim, full of our real household contents here. So really fine dirt and dust. Obviously pet hair, human hair. Super disgusting. Let me show you underneath. You can see some of the crumbs and the larger debris down there. So a lot of stuff from outside. I see wood clippings, grass clippings, some Cheerios and food and all of that good stuff tucked away in the dustbin there. And then our wad of hair. Moving right along, let's flip the vacuum over so we can see the underside here. We do have a lot of tangles already on the brush roller. I was expecting that to be a little bit less. So you can see how the brush roller looks. You will want to spend some time detangling that as needed. And then you'll see the mop pads look great. They're not dry yet because I took it off right when it started to go back home and dry, but they are washed and clean and they look great. No stains, no dirt, no debris. So nice and clean. Side cleaning brush looks good too. No tangles there. That's unusual. Usually you find a couple of pieces of hair wrapped around here. And then let's look at the base station itself. This is the removable plate where it washes and dries your mop pad. So look at that. Not bad. And what's nice is this is removable. So over time, as maybe some dirt and dust and things like that start to build up on this, you can easily wash it as needed. Now we're looking at the Eufy Clean app. Here's our vacuum. We can enter in for additional settings or pick and choose from a couple of different cleaning scenarios. Let's select enter. Now you'll see we got our status currently on standby, 50% battery life. Here's a look at our previous clean with the map, how it's able to go row by row around the perimeter, navigate a bunch of different objects and obstacles. Did a really good job cleaning. Map the rooms too. Everything's exactly how it should be. So nice layout there. You'll notice at the bottom we have 3 different tabs: home, room, and zone, depending on how you want to conduct your clean. You can pick and choose between those. If you want to do the customized mode for your home clean, you have a smart mode option up here. You can learn more about that. But we can enable that. We can choose our cleaning intensity from 3 different options. We can choose vacuum and mop if you want to just mop, just vacuum, or do both. Multiple suction settings as well as multiple water levels. And then they have a cool edge hugging mopping ability, so it can mop along the edges better. So it's got a unique design and it's able to basically, you know, wiggle and move closer to the walls and baseboards. It will take a little bit longer, but you'll get a better clean. So really clever there. Make sure to turn that on. Then you'll see top right-hand corner, we have our device settings, so we can learn more about the RoboVac here and all of its information, like firmware, all of that. Then we have our map management settings. This does support multi-floor cleaning, so you can add your new maps down below. We can also edit our current map. We can set this up on a schedule if we want. You can add a schedule right there. You can view your cleaning history, so take a look. 500 square feet in about an hour. Cleaned everything successfully. So I like that breakdown there. We have our carpet cleaning settings. You can turn Boost IQ on. Definitely recommend that. Carpet detection, what do you want it to do? Vacuum only, avoid, normal cleaning. Base station settings, auto mop washing. What frequency do you want? By room or by duration. Then we have our auto drying settings and drying duration. So you can pick and choose from some of those. 2, 3, or 4 hours. Auto empty settings, the frequency, by task or by time, up to you. Then we have the Eufy Lab. So if you want access to some beta features, you can do that there. Manual controls if you want to drive it, do a spot clean or send it back home to recharge. Voice settings, a couple different languages and volume. AIC settings. Feel free to toggle those on or off as you see fit. Robot settings, do not disturb, auto return cleaning, child lock, area settings, activity log upload, user experience optimization. You get the idea. Firmware updates, accessory services. We have a nice breakdown here of the maintenance of our vacuum and when certain things need to be addressed. Help and feedback section. Find my robot. If it's lost, we can locate it there. Nice little chime. I like it. Share settings and remove the device. And then back here on the main screen with our map, you'll notice we have our base station settings here. Empty dust, wash mop, dry mop. We can go into all those settings again. And then we have our map options here, so we can set no-go zones. Do you want a virtual wall? Do you want a no-go zone? Or do you want a no-mop zone? Just drag and drop and reposition those on your map as your environment calls for each of those. And don't worry, you can add multiples of them too as you build out your map. How does the X10 stack up against the competition? We'll be comparing it not only within Eufy's lineup for the other 5 Eufy RoboVacs that we've tested, but also with the overall average to the over 50 robot vacuums that we've personally tested here as well. So we'll look at some key metrics and facts to get a better feel for how this stacks up again within Eufy's lineup as well as within your typical average RoboVac. So first up, we're looking at max suction power. This is measured in PAs. This has some of the highest suction power we've ever seen. It's over double the average from within Eufy's lineup. Now, we've tested a lot of their lower end models, but it's also nearly double the average RoboVac suction power rating of around 4,200 PAs. This is nearly double that as well. Next, we're looking at CFM. This is the max CFM that we're able to get on the highest suction settings. We measure this in house. Typically, just like your suction power, your max CFM, the higher the better. Usually that's a good indicator to let us know how this is going to actually clean in the real world. We got a score of 7.8. That's 0.5 above Eufy's average. And you'll see it's about a point above the typical average from your RoboVacs. Now, what's interesting is you'll see here double the suction power, but we're not double the CFM. Now, how do those two scores actually relate to the real world? Well, with our deep cleaning test where we embed coffee grounds into carpet, you'll see we got a score of 90 out of 100, 10 points above Eufy's average, and a solid 4 points above your typical average RoboVac. Next, let's talk about decibels. This is measured at the highest suction setting on carpet. You'll see we maxed out at 76 decibels, 7 decibels above Eufy's average, but again, that's a lot of your lower end vacuum models from within Eufy. This is going to be their premium flagship product. And you'll see we're about 6 decibels above the overall average. Good news here, guys, though, there's no distinguishable difference in person listening to your average 70 decibel RoboVac and your 76 decibel RoboVac. Next, let's talk about battery life. This is measured in minutes. We have 180-minute runtime. That's about 50 minutes greater than Eufy's average and about 30 minutes greater than your typical average RoboVac. I do want to point out, though, this is kind of a fleeting metric and it's kind of rendered obsolete because this unit can go back home, recharge, and resume. Next, we'll talk about battery capacity. This is measured in milliamp hours. I do not know what the battery capacity is on this unit at the time of filming. I put 5,200 in there because that seems to be what their flagship models have had in the past. I'm assuming it's something similar, but I really don't know. But you will see that Eufy's average is about 3,200 milliamp hours, and the overall average is going to be 3,600 milliamp hours. With the long runtime and vacuum and mopping support, I'd be shocked if it was anything less than that 5,200 milliamp hour range. Moving right along, let's talk about the height of the vacuum. It's measured in inches. This unit has a 4.3 inch height. Yes, I measured that myself. Thank you very much. The Eufy average is 3.5 inches because we cover a lot of their budget-friendly models that don't have the LiDAR navigation module that will add to the height. You'll see the overall average is 3.6 inches. That's a mix of vacuums with and without LiDAR. What you need to know about the height is compared to your typical LiDAR vacuum cleaner, this one's going to be on the taller side, but compared to your typical LiDAR vacuum cleaner, this one has a really cool and more unusual design and shape that lends itself to be able to get in some of those harder to reach areas. Moving right along to bin capacity, this is measured in milliliters. We have a 330 milliliter bin capacity. That's below the average for Eufy of 425, and it's below the overall average of 411. But there's a pretty big but here, and that but is that when you have a self-empty vacuum like this, you tend to have a smaller bin capacity. It's not needed because this can go back home and empty as it sees fit. So you tend to find shorter and smaller dust bins on self-empty units. That's very normal. This is well within range. Why you're seeing that higher skewed result is because both within Eufy's lineup and our overall average, that includes a lot of vacuums that don't have self-empty. And when you don't have self-empty, they want those bins larger so it can run longer before you have to empty it yourself manually. Next, we have water tank capacity, also measured in milliliters. This has an 80 milliliter water tank built into the unit. The overall average for Eufy is 177 milliliters, and the overall average is 244 milliliters for your typical RoboVac that supports mopping. Same thing, just like self-empty, when you have a vacuum that can refill, we have a much larger clean water tank actually on the station itself. So very common again, you'll see they have around that 80 milliliter mark for an internal water tank, and it can go back home and refill as needed. Same thing with these other vacuums that don't support refilling. They want that tank larger so it can mop further before you have to refill the water tank. Now let's talk about mop lift height. This is measured in milliliters. This unit has a 12 millimeter mop lift height. That's one of the largest heights we've ever seen, which is great. So if you like that style where it lifts the mops up and out of the way and you don't want it to make contact with your carpets, that's going to be one of the greater distances that it's able to travel. Now, iRobot has a version where it actually puts the mop up on the top and out of the way, so that won't make contact. And then Dreamy has a version where it can actually detach the mop pads in the base station and go out and vacuum, and that won't make any contact with your carpets either. But 12 going to be one of the highest mop race heights that we've seen. That's the Eufy average because that's the only Eufy vacuum with mop pads and raising that we've personally tested. So that's why you're seeing that average there. You'll see the average is about 9 millimeters, and those 3 millimeters definitely make a difference to continue to avoid making contact with your carpets and rugs. And last but not least, let's make sense of everything we just talked about, looking at it through the lens of cost. What does this vacuum cost, and what does it cost compared to the competition? So you'll see compared to Eufy's lineup, we're about double the price, but I'd argue you're getting more than double the performance from your typical Eufy RoboVac. And compared to all vacuums tested, again, that includes your entry level to top of the line Ferrari features, this is a solid value, couple $100 more than the average, but you're picking up above average features. Mopping with the spinning nice rotary mop pads with that Pentagon design to help give more coverage, and this has the ability to refill, to clean, to self-empty, object recognition. It's a very capable vacuum cleaner for the price. So although it's expensive, when you compare it not just to your typical RoboVac, but compared to the competition that's at this level of features, we're actually a couple $100 less in cost. Where does that leave us with our Eufy X10 Pro Omni? Let me share with you my final thoughts. First, we'll talk about some of the pros. I like the shape and design of this. It definitely helps in certain environments to give you a closer clean. They also did a really good job with the value. The price to performance and the feature set that you get is top notch with this vacuum. They're definitely making those high-end features more affordable, and I'm all here for it. That just means all consumers win by getting more bang for their buck. Next, let's talk about its object recognition. This does a really good job with object recognition. I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't have high expectations for this vacuum cleaner, and I would say that Eufy over-delivered. Next, I really like within the app, they have a built-in water level indicator, so you can see the clean water tank and how much water's left. Really nice feature. Haven't seen that on any of the other major players, so it's great to see that the Eufy Labs beta is offering some cool and exciting things. I expect that to be built out even more in the future. Now let's talk about some of the cons of this vacuum cleaner. The first one's gonna be the brush detangling. I'm not sure if ours is defective. I didn't configure it right. There's no way to make it manually run in the app that I could find, but it's not doing a good job detangling the brush. Since it's rubber and bristle, that does allow it to pick up more hairs than your typical rubber brushes, but that also means more tangles. And with the tool not working properly or me not being able to figure it out, I wouldn't say that's an added benefit. It just gives you more maintenance to do on your own. If that tool actually does work, I would love to see that feature. That would be an awesome feature to have. You get a better clean and you don't have to worry about the tangles. Other than that, I want to talk about this missing one key feature, which is hot water mop washing. I like that it washes the mop pads. That's great. It dries them with warm air, but we do not have hot water mop washing. I'd love to see that added in the future. I also want to mention, while we're talking about mopping, although it does have the mop raise capability and it's one of the highest out there, I do wish it had the ability, just like my favorite Dreamy vacuums, the L20 and the X30, they're able to leave their mop pads behind at the charging station and go out and just vacuum. So I'd love to see that added in the future if that's possible to be done with the software upgrade. I'm not really sure, but I'd like to see them enhance that in future versions. Also, they have a cool feature on the app you can toggle on called edge hugging, where it basically kind of wiggles the vacuum around to try to get closer to the edges. I like the effort there, but it definitely falls short from Dreamy's Mop Extend, where it actually kicks the mop pad out and cleans those areas. Other than that, two more things popped in my head that I want to mention. The first one's back to the Pro section. I really like the mop pad design here. It's clever that they got that pentagon to try to help have better and more thorough coverage as it's scrubbing. And the second one I want to mention is, if you guys have thresholds and things like that, Eufy has always been the better RoboVac in my opinion. They're more aggressive. So for certain instances, you might not like that. It might drive up on your shoes, maybe a piece of furniture, things like that. But if you have thresholds where a typical RoboVac might be too sensitive, they really dialed these back so they can make some pretty aggressive movements in contact and be able to go up and over certain things. I'm talking like, you know, corner bead around your house. I have like a chair with legs that come like this. It can actually drive up on it and it won't shut itself off. If you have thicker thresholds, you'll appreciate the aggressiveness of a vacuum. Take that one for what it is. Could be a pro, could be a con, or could just be kind of right there in the middle.